A tale hewn from the stone of an elder world, where steel sang, sorcery seethed, and death walked with a woman's stride. In the age before memory, before the last of the elder empires crumbled into dust, and the stars forgot their ancient names, the world was a raw and brutal place. Across blackened wastelands and haunted seas, warriors carved their names into legend with fire and blood. Among them strode a figure feared and revered in equal breath, Zotanna the Fair, born of the storm-blasted peaks of Stonefell, raised in a world of iron and thunder. She bore a blade forged in sky fire, her limbs hardened by 1,000 trials, and her soul tempered in the wild crucible of battle. Her beauty was a stark beauty of cliff and flame, a cruel elegance tempered with scars and silent fury. She had toppled tyrants, shattered siege engines with her bare hands, and slain beasts that had slumbered since the world's first night. But no tale worth telling begins in peace. Beneath the black cliffs of Thodara, where the sea churned like boiling pitch and the wind screamed like mourning spirits, Zotanna found herself locked in a battle not told in a bard's song, for few had lived to see such a foe and kept their tongues. In a cave gouged from the roots of the mountain, she faced it, a troll of the deep earth, spawned in fire-choked chasms beneath the world, where the gods cast their broken mistakes. Its skin was the colour of old bruises and riddled with pustules, its limbs thick as ancient oaks. Yellow fangs jutted from a slavering mouth, and its eyes gleamed with a hungry, mindless malice. With a roar that shook icicles from the stone ceiling, the beast lunged, faster than a thing of its bulk should move, smashing pillars of rock with the weight of its fists. Zotanna danced aside, her blade worm-splitter, flashing like lightning, carving deep into the troll's hide. The creature shrieked, but its wounds smoked and closed, knitting themselves with steaming, unnatural flesh. Zotanna cursed, not from fear, but fury. She had slain warlocks and gorgons, faced fire lords in the ashen wastes. Yet this beast defied her blade. Each strike sung true, each wound deep. And still it came on, eyes burning like coals in the dark. The cavern trembled with their struggle. Stone cracked, dust choked the air, boulders fell like the wrath of the gods. A lesser warrior would have fled, a man would have died. But Zotanna fought on, bleeding, breathless, battered, her mind racing as fast as her blade. And then she saw it, the keystone support, an ancient timber braced between two trembling columns. The mountain groaned above them, thirsting for collapse. She dodged a blow that would have split her like driftwood, and with a scream that rose like a battle horn to the heavens, she struck the beam with all her might. The cave shuddered, the air turned to thunder, and the mountain fell. The troll's roar was drowned in stone, rocks crashed like waves, dust rolled in choking clouds. For a moment, all was darkness and death. Then, from the ruin, a figure emerged. Wounded, ash-covered, her once white cloak torn and soaked in crimson. Zotanna rose, her breath coming in ragged gasps, and her back was straight, her blade still in her grasp. The mountain had claimed its own, and she lived. They welcomed her with torches and trembling songs, the villages of Thildara. She walked through the streets of awe-struck faces and knelt not once. The people laid garlands at her feet and poured mead into her hands. Children wept to touch her boots, and old men swore the snows melted in her presence. She smiled, but only faintly. The wound in her soul never healed between battles. And that night the fire blazed high in the great square, and Zotanna sat wrapped in bearskin, her sword resting at her side, the meat of victory on her plate. Yet even amid the laughter and song, her eyes remained distant, gazing toward the white-toothed peaks of the north. It was then that the rider came, through the drifts, his horse near dead, his cloak torn, his eyes wild. He collapsed before her, and the crowd fell silent. Stone-felled tower has fallen. The words dropped like a hammer onto the hearth. The old spire. Strangers hold it now. The man gasped, coughing blood into the snow. Your people, your kin, they are taken. The firelight flickered in Zotanna's eyes, but her face was stone. She rose slowly, the bearskin falling from her shoulders, revealing scars and muscles that whispered of battle's old price. She did not speak. She only took up her sword, and the villagers watched as she mounted a fresh steed and turned her back on the fire and warmth. Garin, the messenger, rode beside her, an old friend who had once sparred with her in the childhood snows, when war was just a dream. The wind rose as they crossed the frost-bitten plain, two shadows etched against the stars. Above them, in the cold dark, Stonefell Tower loomed like a fan, silhouetted against the sky. It was black now, no hearthlights in its window, no voices in its wind. Something old and wicked had returned to the mountain. But in its path rode Zotanna, forged of stone and snow, fire and fate, and all the gods, new and forgotten, trembled.